please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's log, subdates 230321.3. Those bloody spoons are magnetizing themselves to the hull. Even Ensign Spoon wants them gone. So I've ordered Warrant Officer Crumble to fire up the furnaces. We're going to welcome them in and then smelt those ungrateful refugee pricks down. Welcome everyone to the second of the week. I know we've been doing a lot of these recently. This week at Twitter. And because of time constraints, we're having to do it like this. I'm very sorry. Or twat. Today we'll start with Nikki Fried. I know it's not pronounced that way really, but Fried, you're welcome. Ron posting butt plug porn to own the libs. Ron DeSantis had in fact, well, yeah, I can't show the picture though. Now, Undoomed had replied to this is not the own you think it is. And that's because context had to be applied to this by Twitter. This illustration is from a video played by Governor Ron DeSantis at a press conference, highlighting some of the books now listed for removal found in Florida public schools. It's not about owning the libs, it is entirely about what is or is not appropriate to teach to children. I'm pretty sure many people would not be in favour of this kind of material being available in schools. I get it, when you get a bit older, you want to explore things. Sure, do it as an adult. You don't need this kind of material in an education setting where you need to be taught curriculum. If the curriculum involves teaching children about where the plug goes that isn't in a sink, chances are you're going beyond your role as educator. So in this context, I agree with Ron DeSantis in removing this from schools. And as the governor of Florida, he is well within his right to do this. Even before someone says you don't have kids, therefore you don't have a voice in this. You don't have to have kids to know common sense. But I am acutely aware that if common sense was a qualification, not a single person on this planet would have it. So next, the European Central Bank. Equality is no longer enough. Today on International Women's Day, we need to take it a step further and embrace equity. This means not just giving women the same opportunities, but exactly what they need to succeed. We support International Women's Day by striking the Embrace Equity pose. Yes, there is a video of it. It's 41 seconds long and you've got it on the screen, everyone. These are cringy things. Equity, for those who don't know, not to be confused with equity release on a property, is defined as a system of fairness and justice and is distinguished from equality, because equality means providing the same to all. Equity means recognizing that we do not all start from the same place and must acknowledge and make adjustments to imbalances. The thing with that is, it is based on a very one-dimensional play, the Oppression Olympics. By all means, form an orderly line and suck each other's dicks. That, with the person right at the end who's not sucking anything being the most oppressed of all, okay? And there's a reason for that, because it doesn't really matter if you started from a different place. If you don't fit certain criteria, how you've come about, how you've risen through the ranks, or how you've achieved anything in life means nothing compared to the systemic and worldwide struggles of certain groups of peoples, even though this only really applies to a westernized interpretation of it. And I'm right. So Count Dibbler replies with, "My simple reply to your equity is, go F yourself. I couldn't agree more." The idea of embracing equity is their way of saying, but we could do equality and meritocracy, but these aren't good enough. We'll treat you all equal, but that is not enough. I need to treat you differently and more than equal. So the idea of equity in theory is this, by the way. Okay, but in reality, as you can see from the image, that's what equity actually is. It tears everyone else down. It does not elevate anyone, nor do these other ideas for pushing for equality without treating everyone at the start as equals. How we're different or where we come from really doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. What matters is what we do ourselves with our lives. The European Central Bank are a bunch of cringe lords that need to see themselves out. Moving on from that, we're going to go to Bering. Oh, it's still on pre-order? Can't wait, Chunk. At Cenk Uygur included an image, because it turns out Cenk Uygur has a book coming out called Justice is Coming. The Young Turks are posted. Progressives are part of an unstoppable movement, and we truly care about expanding the circle of liberty. Justice is Coming will give you the tools to build momentum and push for a progressive future. Pre-order today and get a signed copy exclusively at the Young Turks shop. This fascinates me, mostly because I've always considered the Young Turks to be grifters, disingenuous hacks who have pushed more people away than they've ever welcomed in. And I to this day still love watching their election coverage when Trump won. They were so excited at the start, and watching their faces fall over a period of 8 hours was delicious. Part of me is tempted to buy the book, if only so I could cover aspects of it on this channel or on Omegon too. If you'd like that, let me know in the comments. I may get this just for a laugh. Others obviously in his comments have mentioned, 5 years late and want to buy it, set it on fire, shoot it with an AR and all that. The thing is, there are some aspects of what their initial post says that I disagree with. Progressives are part of an unstoppable movement. Society progresses anyway, so the idea of thinking of it as a movement, as a group, a cult, a gathering, is redundant. Justice is Coming is interesting because you've got under here how progressives are going to take over the country and America is going to love it. That is the kind of thing you say when you've taken someone hostage. I assume on the back it says something like, it puts the lotion in the bucket or it gets the hose again, which wouldn't be out of the ordinary for a group who are so utterly intolerant and remarkably fascist-esque. So going from one religion to another. Bushra Sheikh. I'm not good with names. When a person leaves Islam, why do they feel the need to have ex-Muslim written in all their bios? That's like someone exiting a marriage and labeling themselves as ex-wife or husband. Talk about carrying baggage, eye roll emoji. For me, it's often been because people who have been so ingrained into their original belief system, letting go of it felt like an accomplishment. There are many people who've walked away from faiths, cults, political movements, and they announce it because to them it's like lifting a weight off their shoulder. In the case of Islam, it's almost a little different though, because to say you're an ex-Muslim is bad. People will come for you if the right order is issued. It has a name and I'm very much aware of what it is. To say you are ex-Muslim incites a lot of anger. On social media, it actually offers us an opportunity, which in turn allows me to read TP20's tweet, because in many Muslim countries, ex-Muslims can be unalived if they open about leaving the faith. Having ex-Muslim on social media normalizes the idea that it's okay to not believe in Islam and that you are not alone for buying into the idea. Included is an image. Countries where apostasy and blasphemy laws are applied in certain regions or among certain people groups. For orange, it is countries where conversion from Islam and blasphemy is criminalized and punished by anyone or several of the following: jail, sentence, torture, loss, child custody loss, and marriage annulment. Red is unalive. It even has one for white, where it is considered religious freedom but accepting at the same time communities, families may take the matter into their own hands. Some people are going to say this is fine. I disagree with you. It is never fine for anyone to be punished, ostracized, demonized for walking away from something they no longer believe in or want to be a part of. And I will apply that to anything almost. I really struggle to normalize the idea that a nonce can be reformed. But that's just my own bias, alright? At least I'm honest about it. Moving on from all that nonsense concerning religion or just religion in general, which is to me nonsense. Benji Simon, Puppy, one of my favouriteest of all streamers in the world. Kick only wants me on Mondays apparently, and the guy can't even bother to spell check his own signature. I know nothing about the platform, but something tells me it's an oof. Underneath is an email he had received asking him to join the community on Kick. Now many people have started going to Kick as another alternative platform. I have no intention of going there myself. I am far too busy struggling on YouTube to spread myself even thinner. But the message is quite amusing in this regard, offering him a decent split, and Drew, thank you for your time, and Andrew. You are, this be spam bish. Moving on from that, we're going to go to we're not going to play the video, but there is a video on Libs of Tik Tok's account where Biden essentially says it is basically sinful and cruel to ban puberty blockers and sex change surgeries for children. Now, we can all have an opinion on this. Mine is always going to be the same. No child before the age of 18 can make an informed decision about their future or body, and a parent certainly should not either. They should not transition their child at all. This should be very much, once a fully grown adult, decision. Retweeted Libs of Tik Tok with, by Julian that is, does he understand what he's talking about or is he reading a script? Many people agree with this. Hurly whirly, what the actual F? Julian replies, I support trans kids, but will not let them go ahead and make a medical decision they may regret. There is nothing wrong with waiting till they are at least 18. By the way, Hurly whirly replied with what the fuck and retweeted with the same, along with hashtag support trans kids. Hurly whirly's reply, you're entitled to your opinion. Ever have a trans kid? An appeal to authority apparently is required here. Lived experience is the only determining factor as to whether or not you have a voice at this table. You are deluded. Children should not be on puberty blockers. Children should not be allowed to transition. Again, you have to go through the entire biological process of growing up. Once that is complete, then you can make those decisions. And it certainly should not be down to parents who essentially manipulate their children at a young age. Which, by the way, some have done. It is quite tragic. As Easter is fast approaching, many supermarkets are going out of their way to acquire all the chocolate eggs and anything else that can be considered a novelty Easter gift. Aldi have gotten some bunny-shaped Easter sweets that are marshmallows. The thing is, as others might have pointed out, fairly obvious really, they look less like bunnies and more like small penises. I, of course, when someone indicated they looked like willies, asked for comparison details. For science, of course. Retweeted Miss V, who tweeted, sorry Aldi, but that ain't a bunny, with, we can't even defend this one. Credit to you for taking the L on this one. I will admit, it's an amusing one. It's a shame though they're too soft, too small, too squidgy to be a accurate comparison. What a shame, right? I assume this was sold in the adult aisle, because it said bunnies and chicks. All I see are cock and balls. So you got half of it right. So the final thing I want to talk about today concerns the doxing of Corp's husband. Content creator by the name of Shampy in a video put out the full face, name, address of Corp's husband. Big cock up on the part of Shampy. They had attempted to appeal it via Team YouTube on Twitter, who tweeted, heard back, confirming the video in question was removed in line with our harassment policy for content that encourages abusive fan behavior such as doxing. Something which the likes of John Swan said that the reason for this is justified, and I agree. I do not care who you are, do not share doxes of other creators. John Swan did also include a clip of the dox, but with a censor added to it. The right thing to do, by the way. Shampy did eventually say, I understand, we made a grave mistake, I messed up massively, along with indicating that they should have notified their editor, which is the right thing to do. When other people then clowned on Shampy, Shampy took the L on this, as is only right. The overarching point that is relevant to this is quite simply, do not use personal information of another person to make points in your content. Do not dox. Creators who run the risk of being doxed when they have been anon for a while run the risk of being swatted. They run the risk of people turning up at their home and harassing them, either because they want to make another Drakenlord, or because they want to meet their favoritist of YouTubers while that favoritist of YouTuber is trying to have some downtime. It's not cool, not acceptable. Please learn from this and be better.